Monday morning, high pressure again. I wanted to do loads of back stuff and loads of guard, half guard stuff again today. The scrambling positions, the points where people are getting stuck in sparring, I want them to be ferociously getting out of those. Bit of covering, countering stuff today between those just to keep their arms moving, and then we finished on just back control, back taking, rear naked chokes, then the med ball burnout, get them to finish strong.
And Marcus back in the gym so soon. How's
Straight away.
Marcus looking?
It's great to see him straight away. You know what I mean? Most people would take a week off, they go celebrate, they get, you know, like eat a load of bad food and then have a load more work to do when they get back. But he's straight on it, you know, halfway through the week after his fight, and he's looking good already.
Veronica getting back in the mix as well. Veronica's looking super sharp. See her grappling with you, putting you in all sorts of positions.
Yeah.
How's V getting on?
She's looking good. She's looking good. Things are starting to be a lot easier for her in training. She's able to push a bit more. She's been shadowing me throughout training camp for this, so she's running with me. She's doing my back sessions and everything. So we're getting there. She'll be back soon. Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Last question, bro. Star pupil and why?
You know what? Silent but works hard every time, Jackie. Jack Young, he's here every Monday morning, he pushes it, he sets a pace, he does the warm-up, he's, you know, and right at the end of this session, this burnout, med ball burnout, he's the one that set the pace on the push-ups and the pressing, so Jack Young today.
That was 40. Was that? No, keep up.
Take a picture. You get me on camera taking a piss.
Yeah.
And I got here, I felt like dying. I've had a shit week, emotionally, but I had a really good session. Got really emotionally drained, but yeah, felt good. Sparred good. Fit and strong. Weight's good. 83.5 after that session. 5-minute rounds, still fit. Feeling strong on the ground, feeling strong on the wrestle, strong on the feet.
How your rounds going?
Yeah, all right.
I didn't whip the hay. What rounds?
Yeah.
It's a rarity.
Pressure was better.
It's a rarity.
Second one, like first one you would do, I was like, managed to get mine.
John's awesome. All the moves, fucking headache. Felix, fantastic. All the boys are fantastic. They've all got amazing and superior skills in different areas. And yeah, we're winning certain battles with them in certain areas or doing well. Then my opponent's fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so good. Oh, the leg was so good. The hammer was so cool. Yeah, exactly.
He's just jealous. He's
He's
just jealous because
what?
you're not involved.
Yeah?
And now he's showing off because the camera's watching you. Innit?
Exactly.
Trying to
Finally
flex,
he's going to
bro.
get some
Now
He's
you
trying to
see,
flex,
he's
bro.
gonna get
If I take off my t-shirt, I'll embarrass you, bro.
Come on, bro, this
I'm
is
telling you,
nice,
if I
yeah.
take off my t-shirt, I'll
Skinny is
embarrass
like
Calm down and get in on that.
Hands in there. Yeah.
Oh shit! Spot the difference. Come here.
Come. Look at the Oreo. It's a light. Look at the Oreo. Look. Oreo right now.
Oreo.
The zebra crossing. Look at the biceps on that. The zebra crossing. Look at the biceps on that.
What do you mean?
do you mean? What do you mean zebra cross? He's still the biggest. He's still the biggest. What do you mean zebra cross? Yeah, I see it. Black, white.
Yeah,
white.
black.
Yeah. He's madness, wait. He's madness. I see where he's going.
Alright, let's fucking get home. Let's get home.
See you next week.
Safe,
Take
brother.
care, man. Take care, man. Nice one.
Thank you very much, man.
Take care. Good. Ciao.
When you still work on
Seminar's gone very, very well. The guys picked up everything impressively well. I'm not just saying that. We've been looking at the guillotine, and we've been 2 hours. We've done one technique, but we took a real deep dive looking at sort of looking at everything not to do. If you avoid all of the things not to do, then you're going down the route of doing everything right. So we're focusing on the importance of the shoulder, which is something that's really kind of chronically missed out, and a lot of people lose position. Focusing on the control with the shoulder, and then getting the precision of the grip and making everything super strong underneath the neck as well. Those two things together are creating this really strong, powerful, controlling and sort of aggressive on the neck position. Then we're getting our body into the position, best position that I think to finish, and then we're looking at the finish. So it is 2 hours, and sometimes it's longer, 3 hours, more than 3 hours on one technique, but by the end of it, you've been swimming around in that technique the whole time, and hopefully it will stick in everyone's head. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do a guillotine. You can do it with a rotational torque, using the head as a fulcrum and forcing that forearm into the neck. I don't like it. I know a lot of really high level guys who do it, but especially for lower level guys or people who aren't super, they don't have that coordination for the guillotine perfected. It means that you're being really, really gambling with that shoulder position, whether the head's going to pop out or not. So I don't use that rotation. I go for that squeeze. And whenever you're squeezing with the upper body, this is important, we don't think about it, but it's really important. Whenever you're squeezing with the upper body, you squeeze into the shoulder line, right? You always squeeze in to this line here, because that's where your arms are attached. Whether you're doing a rear naked choke, whether you're doing a head and arm choke, whether you're doing a guillotine choke, everything squeezes to that upper chest, that shoulder line there. So if I take your back real quick, we see this in the back position a lot, and actually for some reason more in MMA. I've noticed a lot when I've been doing cage warriors, which is a lot of the time you're seeing people get that arm underneath the neck, but for some reason the person's not tapping, and it's great at comments, oh my god, how the person resisting it, but the reality is they're resisting it because it's not really on. Because if I'm low down in this position, even if I have the arm underneath the neck, I can't squeeze into his neck from here because I'm squeezing up into my shoulder line. So when I'm in this position and I apply force, I'm squeezing here, but nothing's happening. I mean, it's not pleasant, I'm sure, but it's going into the jaw. So the angles are all wrong. Of course, what you want to be doing when you're attacking the back is you want to be at the same level. So when I'm here and I pull, it's a completely different story, right? And the exact same thing happens when you're doing the guillotine, which is, if you imagine what you want is you want this clean slice through the neck, through the vulnerable, that soft part of the neck there. So in order to do that, imagine that's my shoulder and that's my wrist. You want this. It's always going to be moving to the shoulder. Okay? So wherever the shoulder goes, that's where the wrist is going to be moving. So what you want is you want this really far position with the shoulder, and then you get that clean cut through the neck. And if the shoulder starts to slide off towards the top of the head, even if it doesn't slip off. So some people go, well, my shoulder position must be good, I still have the guillotine. Well, not necessarily. Because if that shoulder starts to move up just a little bit, and for whatever reason the opponent is maybe weak or tired, or they haven't tried to pull the head out, then that angle of exertion for the choke is going to change. And instead of going straight up into the neck, it's going to start to go into the jaw. I mean, have you ever grabbed the guillotine and felt like the person's neck was made of concrete? Right? This is a really common thing. I literally remember years ago, the first time I grabbed someone, I'm like, I can't choke them, their neck is too strong. But of course, no one's neck, well, if someone's neck is made of concrete, do not grapple with them. But most people, it isn't the case. The reason it feels like that is because you're choking into bone, which is as strong as concrete. So this is a really common reason. So if you have a look here, just turn this way. So if my shoulder is backwards, just give me a little bit of tension here. If my shoulder is really far backwards here and I pull, I can put lots of pressure. It's not particularly comfortable, but it's going into the jaw. It's not going into the neck. However, if my shoulder's in this forward shoulder position, look, with barely any force there, you can feel that pressure going into the neck. So this shoulder position I'm talking about a lot because I really want to hammer it home for you guys, and you've got to practice it and you've got to drill it and you've got to get used to it, because when you recondition yourself to be naturally in that forward shoulder position when you're controlling the front headlock, well then that means that you're not going to have to think about it, and you can be, you know, because you don't want to get there and go, oh, I need to bring my shoulder forward. You want to be doing that autonomously.
What is it about the guillotine that you like so much?
Oh, I love a lot of things about the guillotine. I mean, I think without all of the sort of, you know, head in the cloud stuff, like it's an ancient technique. You know, I have like a 2,000-year-old coin with a Heracles choking the Nemean lion with a guillotine. It's like one of my prized possessions. But but I think what that represents is it's a technique that, as long as humans have been fighting, they have utilized this technique. When every time you do a guillotine, you are in the lineage of the many, many thousands of years, generations of people have done that. And you see, you know, kangaroos doing it on each other still and stuff like that. So for that reason, but I think really in the like sort of a technical aspect, the guillotine is, you're controlling the head. It gives you, whenever you're controlling the head, you know, Kimuras are great, body locks are great, but controlling the head really controls the entire body. The body is like an arrow, the head is like the tip. And by controlling that, you control everything, and you can control it in a way where you have that constant threat. And having a constant threat is so important because it changes the psychology of what your opponent is doing. When you just have a body lock, they may be worried about transitions, but when you have that neck, they're worried about the transitions, but they're even more worried about the potential submission. So a lot of the time, it's almost mind control and trickery, which is you go for a guillotine, really what you want is the sweep, and the person gives you the sweep thinking that they've won by giving up the position, but that's all you wanted the whole time. So the guillotine is a beautiful position. It you know, control position with great submission options. It's super versatile, and I just like it a lot.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Cheers, man.
When are you grappling again? Have you got anything lined up?
Yeah, so I mean, I was it's busy with loads of other stuff that I'm doing, but I'm really focused. You know, my recovery's gone well. I'm rolling back at 100%. There's an IBJJF tournament in a couple of weeks, but I've been away, you know, traveling and teaching for the last month, so I'm not sure whether I'll make that. But I'm looking to really get back active and start doing tournaments again, not just shows. I want to get a lot more mat time. So kind of that's the goal for stay healthy and kind of get in competition shape and stay there, kind of compete as much as I can for the next year or two.
Any questions on any of this stuff? I want to make sure everyone's happy with everything before we bounce. No questions? Everyone cool? Cool guys, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You taking a picture with you, yeah? Guys.